Man, sweating. That was crazy. Sorry for the delay. Hi, I'm Danna, and we are here with Debra Atkinson to talk about the magic of the mini workout. Thank you guys so much for joining us and for bearing with us while we had some TV technical difficulties. Actually, we were just working out, stretching.
That's right. Well, we're so excited to be here with you today, Deborah. Thank you for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me, guys. You look so awesome. I'm like, I am always the one with my headband on, and everybody gives me a bad time. You guys have me outsmarted today.
I should have told you. I'm sorry.
I didn't get the memo.
My nickname growing up was Head Bandana.
Seriously. Oh, I love it.
Because I always had my headband on. So I told Jenny, I was like, I'm going to do it. So
I love it.
Well, and we're ready to get physical.
Yes, we are.
Not too physical. But that's what we wanted to talk with you about today, Deborah, is just how for this community and for so many of us, I think just as we age, sometimes less is more. We were talking about this when you were recently on our podcast, Thyroid Refresh TV, and that is now published. So anybody who wants to watch that episode with Deborah, you can see her on our podcast page. It's called How to Exercise Safely at Any Age. So Deborah is amazing, you guys. She's an amazing resource. You might recognize her from some of our Thyroid Refresh workouts. She has one on our site called Better Than Bar and another one called Simple, Safe, and Sane Strength Training at Home. So she's been a Thyroid Refresh contributor. She's a wellness coach, a fitness expert, and she's the author of a number of books, including You Still Got It, Girl, The After 50 Fitness Formula for Women, Navigating Fitness After 50, and Hot Not Bothered. Deborah hosts Flipping 50 TV and the Flipping 50 podcast. And she's a frequent speaker and expert recognized by AARP, Washington Post, Prevention Magazine, and USA Today. So guys, she is an amazing resource and she's just wonderful. We love you, Deborah. We're so glad to be here with you and so glad that you've become a part of the Thyroid Refresh family. I know we've been really enjoying your workouts, especially the strength training. Mm-hmm. That has been my jam lately. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Awesome. Isn't it so great? Like all are just like boom, 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 boom. Not only easy on your knees, but you don't have to get up and down and you're just like going at it. Love it.
Right. Yeah. Well, and you can kind of just adapt it as you go too. You can like progress through a series. So yeah. We wanted to, to really talk about the magic of the mini workout, right? Less is the new more when it comes to exercise, it seems like. Can you talk to us about why?
Oh, yeah. You know her, cortisol. You know her.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, we get out of whack. And cortisol is just like sitting at the top of the mountain. And then there's this domino effect that happens with so many other hormones because cortisol gets it started. And that's the whole deal. So the goal with exercise, we all know we need it. And I don't think you can turn any direction today and not acknowledge the fact we all need exercise. We just need it in the Goldilocks, sweet spot, not too much, not too little for us, and there's no blanket statement on what that sweet spot is exactly for anybody. But we're looking for, let's exercise enough to do the good, but to negate negative effects of stress, because even exercise is stress, right? Mm-hmm. So your body likes to be on the couch. So even when you go for that walk around the block, your body is like, maybe not. But, I use the 10-minute rule. After 10 minutes, if you still are not feeling it, chances are you might actually need more rest that day, and you should just call it a day and say, hey, I moved today, and that's okay. And then most times, if this was a day you're meant to exercise, you're going to feel better. Your endorphins are going to kick in. Your energy level will kick in because now you've got circulation, you've got oxygen and blood going to all the places it wasn't while you were sitting still. And that 10-minute rule tells you a lot. And so does, how do you feel at the end of your exercise? Mm-hmm. You feel like I could lay down and take a nap right now. That's not what we're after. That was too much. and or too much for you today in the right now that you're in. So you should feel energized afterwards. Certainly 2 hours afterwards, you should be so glad you did that workout today and had the energy all day long to last through the day. I call it couch compensation. We're all trying to avoid that. We don't want that workout that makes you feel like I've got to lay on the couch the rest of the day. We're trying to get better at life, not at the gym, right?
Right.
Yeah. And, I want to mention, I was 5 years ago, this has changed, this has been more mainstream in just the 5 years or 6 years that I've been, online, because I was a Zumba instructor and my doctor didn't tell me any of this. And I loved it and it was great, but I couldn't wait to get home to take a nap. And not only did I take a nap, I passed out for a couple of hours, but I taught 5-6 classes a week.
Yeah.
And I also taught the Aqua Zumba, which I loved, but it's bigger steps and slower and it's hard. It's really hard. You would think it wouldn't be, but it was really hard. And so I was dying. I was pushing myself, but I kept thinking, well, it's exercise. The exercise is good for you. And that's what everybody's kind of been, misinformed about. And so less is really more. And, I also think that people picture working out as this high intensity, dripping sweat kind of thing. And it doesn't have to be that either. Can you talk about that a little bit and give some ideas and stuff?
Oh God, such a great kind of statement right there. And the other thing they associate it with, not just got to be dripping sweat, but what comes with that is pain. We associate pain with a good workout because the term all by itself, right? I mean, workout, who came up with that idea? What a bad title. Are you motivated to go to work of any kind? So let's not go there, but absolutely. It's what you're after is the punctuation point. You want the period, the exclamation point, and the question mark. You want those kinds of things. And then we're done. What's really popular right now? HIIT, high intensity interval training, and or high intensity weight training can also qualify for one of those interval trainings. But the point is, hit it and quit it. So we tend to, many people, if a little is good, more must be better. And that's where we just go into that, here's Goldilocks and this is too much, way on the other side. And more is not better. We have a threshold of optimal results. And after a certain point, you don't get more results. In fact, you'll start going down because we need recovery. And we'll forget about that. We're all trying to work. And we forget it's actually in the recovery between exercise that we make the progress. Your muscles have to heal. We create little micro tears in them when we do anything, when we shovel, right? When we garden, but definitely when we're lifting weights or we're doing an interval going faster or higher, harder. So we've got to let those muscles repair because they don't just repair to the strength they had, they repair to the strength a little over and above that. It's kind of like they've got a mini brain and they're thinking, oh, well, if she's going to do that to me, I'm going to buffer up just a little bit better so that that's not a big deal next time. And that's when you get stronger and you have more endurance. So climbing that stairway is not nearly as hard as it was last week, or last month. And lifting that same weight that seemed heavy when you started now is your warm up. Isn't that how the cliche, the meme goes, right?
Right.
Right.
So true, but only if you get the recovery in between. So you've got to make sure that you give yourself that. And a lot of women feel guilty about that piece. So we probably can't emphasize that enough. Rest is a big part of you making progress, whether you're talking about the condition you've got or you're talking about between strength training. Enjoy it, work hard while you're doing it, but you will actually feel better at your next workout and get more out of it if you rest between. So it's about short bouts that are intense and then back off of it and rest in between. So you can fill that time between with activities of life, of low intensity exercise, and just feel your energy level. You should be feeling good between all of your exercise, looking forward to your next workout. All of that is a sign okay, you're right on the right track.
Huh, I
Yeah.
love that. It's so refreshing, isn't it? And it's a relief. I mean,
Whew.
you don't
Right?
have to do these super intense killer sessions at the gym that just leave you flattened for days afterwards. And that's a common problem in our community is, exercise induced fatigue and beyond just like normal fatigue. We're talking days and days of just exhaustion after a workout. So I love that. Hit it and quit it with
Right.
the high intensity interval training. And I loved what you said on our podcast, Thyroid Refresh TV, the other day. I think you said recovery is where fitness happens, or something like that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think just so that we're really congruent for everybody who's listening, when they hear us saying we're going to do high intensity, or high intensity is what you should be doing, when we're talking about a high intensity workout, it's made of little sprints of high intensity. It's not start, go high intensity the whole time. It's 30 seconds or it's a minute of a high intensity exercise. And especially the women that are here, right? I mean, we do contractions, for heaven's sakes. Like, you can do anything for 30 seconds. So, the feels like, oh yeah, I'm out of breath and I want to know exactly how much longer I have to do that. But it's, recovering with your hands on your knees. So you're breathing hard, but you do get that recovery pretty quickly. We're not going all day here. We're not going for an hour, even a half an hour. It's little short sprints. You can do that.
And I know you're really, you really stress upon the fact that in order to build bone density and all that, strength training is really good for you. And that's fabulous. And I really want people to watch the episode so they can see you talking about that, because it's so important. But also just the movement and the sweat, if you're not doing the weight training, you can get your body sweating. You can get your body moving by doing simple things, right? In the kitchen while you're doing dishes, like heel lifts and simple little things. Do you do any of that stuff when you're walking around the house? Do you try to incorporate little things into what you're doing?
I do. It's a great example, actually. So I had a little tear in my foot several years ago. So I walked around for a year every day doing heel raises, on one foot and the other foot to really test, is my foot and my ankle back to speed? Brushing my teeth, definitely. I'll stand up and do it on one leg and then do it on the other. It's made my teeth brushing a whole lot better. My dentist is so happy. But if you could give me the floss, would be in great. Right. But yeah, little things like that for sure. And going barefoot, every once in a while, really important. If you're out there and you've got plantar fasciitis, you probably can't do that or shouldn't, without getting healed first. But everybody else, in order to prevent it, those feet need to get worked out. We stuff them in shoes our whole lives, and some of us stuff them in really cute shoes, and then we're, even paying for that even more.
Oh yeah.
We need to go barefoot and kind of wake those feet up a little bit, and curl towels in our toes, pick up marbles, and just point and flex and move that ankle around. But that too is something I'll make a point of doing just for a few minutes every day at the very least. Super important.
And there are little things you can do, like parking your car further out in the parking lot when you're going, so that you have to walk further. You can take the flight of stairs instead of taking the elevator to the second floor, third floor, wherever you live. There are little things that you can do. Some days you can't do it, and that's okay. But if you can try to do that more and more and more, those things add up. I mean, when you're talking about the 10-minute workout and what you can accomplish in 10 minutes is fabulous, but it's something that you would also want to build upon. So you do your 10 minutes, and 10 minutes is great, and 10 minutes will be great forever and ever and ever. But hopefully you'll feel so good after 10 minutes, then in a couple of days after you've rested and recovered, that you could do 12 minutes. You want to always be moving your body. You want to always be kind of building on what you have. Is that right?
That was an excellent description. Yes. So that's exactly the way we'd recommend somebody started something. So 10 minutes, and you're doing that for a couple of times, maybe during this week, even every day. Next week, then it's 12 minutes. The next week, it's 14 minutes. So your body won't know. It's almost as if you're tricking it into doing more because it won't feel the difference between such a small percentage increase. But when you look at the beginning to the end of the month, that's significant. Eight more minutes than you started out doing is significant. So you can grow very easily. And you can also get to that point where if something doesn't go quite right, you get what friends of mine called a niggle, right? Something talking to you. You can just back off of that as quickly as you started. And before it becomes a problem, you've already fixed it. So it's just giving you time to listen to your body. Great advice. Yeah.
And
Just
if you have to go back to the 10 minutes or even 5 minutes after you get your niggle and or nothing at all, just because you've built up after a month to 18 minutes, every other day or every day. And, the one day you can't do anything or the one day you can only do 5, that's okay. Like you don't always have to be building. I mean, the point is to build, but you don't always have to be. It's okay if you don't. Like, progress, not perfection. Jenny and I say that all the time, but I just wanted to throw that in there really quickly. Okay, what were you going to say, Jenny?
Oh, well, I was just thinking about how just talking about it, like I want to start doing squats
me too.
right now.
I know.
And Danna told me this funny story that I wanted to share where she said she was in line for the ladies' room at an event and she started doing squats. And then some of the other ladies in line started
and we were all doing squats
with her.
Yeah.
I'm like, those little things like that, it does help. And and I think so many of us too, this is what I wanted to ask you next, Deborah, is so many of us are working on limited energy. So much of thyroid, the way it works, what it does for our body, and the challenges it can create when our thyroid has issues are energy related and energy management. So I know that's kind of already what we're talking about here, but can you sort of speak to that specifically?
Yeah. Well, and if you look at energy and exercise collectively, there's one that emerges, right? So now yoga is the one that says, okay, it's all about actually energy management. It's so good for everyone, not just for our focus and concentration, but it's all about putting the energy where you need it and removing it from places where you don't. So you have this equanimity, we call it when we're teaching yoga, that is strength and poise at the same time. So it's ease with strength. And really, you're looking for that in every single exercise that you're doing is a balance of kind of that yin and yang of let's yes, work hard, but let's do it with ease, not with fighting and pushing and punishing, so that it's, right where you need it to be. The whole purpose is definitely to overload your body with more than when you're sitting at your desk or at rest, but it's for a very short amount of time and it's calculated. So Danna's example of, adding 2 minutes every week and then talking about, you don't continue to grow and grow and grow forever. Every athlete takes like every 4th week for me and for clients is a recovery week. So we back off. Every 4th week is like a fraction of what they're used to doing, because not only do we need rest days during the week, but sometimes we need a rest week, an entire week, just to relax and chill out. And then you can come back at that first week of the next cycle feeling just, I'm ready to go. I'm refreshed again. It's like, what happens when you go on vacation? You come back and you just feel like a different person.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're not, right? But, your brain got a break, your body got a break, you got different food, different scenery. And that's really how you want to approach your workout and feel not like you're drilling yourself to the ground, but you're actually lifting yourself up. Just concisely knowing exactly what do I do in this workout so that I can use my time wisely and then be done.
I loved what you said too about you should be looking forward to your next workout. Mm-hmm. That's one of those indicators that tells you my body's ready. My body's ready to do this again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And here's a comment from Rebecca.
I felt that way all the time.
Can you guys see this comment? It says, I used to do 30-minute workouts years ago, and I'm okay with being at 10 minutes a day now. I love that. because the message is out there. We're getting the message out that it's okay to do just 10 minutes. If that's what you've got, that's what you can do, then that's okay. And I love that. I mean, 10 minutes is quality. 10 minutes every day is, 70 minutes a week, it's not nothing. And so I think that's really awesome. So I just wanted to shout that out to Rebecca. You keep it up, girl.
That is a great comment, Rebecca. And, for someone who's got some real energy lulls, who wants to do more, actually breaking your workout up into 10 minutes if you wanted to do more, and doing 10 minutes of strength training at one point, 10 minutes of a brief walk, another point in your day, 10 minutes of stretching, another, can actually optimize blood sugar levels better than one long stretch of that 30 minutes.
Okay,
Yeah,
that
that's
makes total
awesome.
sense. Yeah,
Mhm.
because I know I've had a couple big workouts lately where I've been like, wow, I feel so shaky now. I really noticed that blood sugar spike drop, that fluctuation. So that's a really good way of looking at it. And I think it's so liberating too, and more doable. I mean, we're all busy. We're all overwhelmed. Life is crazy. We live in extreme times. All this stuff is just like this swirl, right? So when you can take anything and say, let's shrink this down and make it more digestible and bite-sized, that's a great thing, and helps us be more consistent, and not just consistent, but joyful when we're doing it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think for most women, the biggest challenge we've all got is stress, right? So it comes back to physical stress is no different than emotional stress, than financial or relationship stress. It kind of all goes into this backpack, and you've got it, you're carrying it around, and every one of them is a brick that's going in there, and you're carrying it no matter where it comes from and what the source is. So for those of you that say exercise really helps me deal with stress, we're probably, because I say we, because that's me too. We're the ones who we have to pull back just a little bit and say, okay, so do a little bit and let's see how you feel. Let's find that place where you're back on equilibrium. You're not just working so hard and then you're going to crash again. It's just test yourself to find what works best.
And, I wanted to mention, there's so many people out there wearing all the fitness, apps and gadgets and things. And so if you look at it, you realize, well, hey, I've been moving. Like, I have been moving. I've walked 4 miles already, and I wasn't even thinking about it. And so that's great. But one of the things I think that helps so much, something you said a few minutes ago, was it's a time as like a vacation, a break from all of that in your brain. And like, if you're doing 10 minutes of intentional movement, you are freeing yourself of all of that, baggage, so to speak, because you're in the moment. You realize what you're doing. You kind of release, you kind of on your little mini vacation, as opposed to just going, well, no, every day I get my 5 miles in. I think it's important to take that little 10-minute, 5-minute, whatever it is that you have and can give. Is that right? Do you agree with that?
I do. And I want to just address that a little bit. So I think intentional about what are you listening to?
Right.
Can also be really important. So I'm in a new neighborhood. So I've watched my new neighbors a little bit closer than I watched my old neighbors because I knew them. But, I see people going for a walk that they're actually like on the telephone. Like we're taking it with us, like, and it's kind of, I think of that the same way I think of someone like on a treadmill, but reading a book. And I just want to say to anybody, if you can read a book and walk on a treadmill, you are not helping yourself here.
Right. That's the point I wanted to get across. Right. Yes.
So, I think really decide, maybe you want that earphones in and you want to listen to music. You've got music that is uplifting, makes you love what you're doing, take a break, feels like dancing, walking down the street, by all means do that. But sometimes quiet is nice as well. So really focus on, what do I need right now? What kind of a walk do I need this to be? And then abide by that.
Bringing that mindfulness piece into it. Yes, I love that.
I used to teach at a university for about 15 years. So I had students that were, most of them sophomores, in kinesiology, and they would have to test themselves, their own physical fitness, at the beginning and the end of the semester. And I would not, this was at the time when iPods were just coming out. And of course they were big and heavy and clunky. And I would not let them use them. And many of them were like, I don't know if I can run. They're like, okay, we're going to try. Okay.
Let's just see.
But, it's called either association or dissociation. And I wanted them to, not use the music to separate from the exercise. I wanted them to focus on the breathing, on the way their body felt, on how it felt to swing their arms, just to move their bodies and get in tune with that. And then years later, someone gifted me with an iPod. I'd run without one for 25 years. And I was out for a run one day with my iPod and the battery went dead. I was 3 miles from home and I'm like, what am I going to do now? I'm going to have to walk. I was like,
you're like, I get it now.
I was like, this is terrible.
Wait a minute, time out.
I'm calling a cab.
That's it.
Close.
Oh, I love that. I mean, I'm so glad that you brought that up, because so much of, rejuvenation is one of our 8 daily rituals that are part of Thyroid 30, and which is self-care, right? Stress management, to filling your own cup, filling your bucket, whatever metaphor you like. And so much of that, I think, comes down to that idea of being in your body.
Yeah.
Whether it's while you're meditating, laying in savasana, running, movement is so wonderful that way. I was talking to a good friend of mine who's super active, and I was like, wow, you're amazing. And you do all this stuff, and, mountain biker, runner. And she said, I really just like to be in my body. That really stuck with me. I'm like, that's such a great way to put it. That's what I crave about exercise and movement, just staying active more and more so, is that opportunity to connect. We go through lives so busy that sometimes we forget we even have a body.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. And I want to take that one step further. I love that she said that, because I'm going to start thinking about it. I love being in my body in nature for me.
Oh yeah.
Because it feels different. It feels like I'm not doing the norm and I'm doing something good for myself, and I'm in appreciation and I'm more in the moment. Even if I have something I'm listening to or whatever, I really can do. I love my body being in my body, but when I'm in nature, I really love it.
Yeah.
Because it kind of separates me from everything,
And they call that forest bathing.
Yes, I love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
They looked at studies of walking, right? And they compared, like, New York City walking on a city street versus walking in, like, on a treadmill versus walking in green, and they were all physically healthy for people, but the positive benefits was, far outweighed when they looked at the people who were walking in green, even if it was just a patch of green in Central Park, in a cityscape. It matters. Yeah.
I think that's the theme of our conversation today, is quality over quantity, right?
Yes.
And how can you up-level that entire experience? So it isn't just, I'm not just checking off my exercise checkbox. I'm also potentially checking off my self-care check, and all these other things, that the nature time, the fresh air, the sunlight, the vitamin D, all these things that help us thrive as human beings.
Yeah.
I like it.
I lived in the mountains for the last 5.5 years, so I'm in the desert right now, but and I probably wouldn't do this, but I used to haul my weights outside. So I was looking at the Great Divide doing my strength training outdoors.
I love that.
Right? Yeah.
Yes.
You did live in a beautiful place. You did. Yeah. You did. You got just a different, beautiful place now.
Right.
Right? Yeah.
Thank you so much, Deborah. But I want to mention to everybody too that right now our enrollment is open for our fall session of Thyroid 30. So we would love to have you guys join us. This is just part of the whole thing, right? Thyroid 30 is going to help you bring awareness to all of your daily choices, including, the mindfulness, the movement, not just what you eat and drink, but also, how much sleep you're getting, all those things that we need to thrive. And we put them into this 30-day, we call it a wellness adventure because, thyroid patients have enough challenges, right? We don't need another challenge. We want an adventure and we want this healing process to be fun. So that's what we're doing with Thyroid 30. This is the last week of enrollment for fall, so you don't want to wait too much longer if you'd like to join us for that. It's super affordable. And to learn more or sign up, you can just go to thyroidrefresh.com/thyroid30. But thank you so much for being here with us today, Deborah. This has been so informative and inspiring. And we love you. We love your work. We loved having you on our podcast. We love your workouts on Thyroid Refresh. And we very much admire your work at Flipping 50. So thank you for all that you do.
Thanks for having me, gals. Okay, you ready? Side leg lifts. Let's go.
Okay, here we go. Here we go. I'm doing it. Just watch out. Wait till I get off the phone. Here I am. Thank you, guys. And don't forget, if you do sign up, you'll get to see Deborah's amazing videos inside Thyroid Refresh because you do get access when you join Thyroid 30. They're so great. I can't wait for more. So thank you, guys. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Bye. Let's get physical. I want to get physical.
But not too